definition, that means that they are financially excluded. So I'm just wondering, why wouldn't you consider that as an impact in itself? Here you say that that is kind of a separate. I would say it's very much every loan that we grant to an entrepreneur is by definition an impact.
Thank you. Very good question. Actually, we do consider financial inclusion as an impact, and I think that the definition. So there is a question of what we define as financial inclusion. That is a broader concept. I understand that what you mean, that these are individuals that are excluded from the traditional financial sector, and so by giving them credit or financial services, we include them. I understand that, and I think I mean it's all the institutions here, they have the same mission. So it's the mission is to serve the excluded population, and this is tracked by the output indicators that are still very relevant, in a sense that they provide the scope and the potential impact that you can generate. But for example, if you look at the code of conduct, the indicator maybe is not the best one, right? But the indicator they provide as financial indicator is the transition. So the microfinance sector is seen as a vessel that helps the excluded population to scale up to the broader financial system. So, but yes, I agree with you that that's already a huge achievement, and yeah, absolutely. Anyone else? Yeah, Maria. Maria, you are on mute.
We cannot hear you.
Okay, sorry. So as I mentioned in my previous intervention during the last meeting, we are collecting 80 indicators. So I think it's very useful how you split them in output, outcome, and impact. We have to work a little bit on them and those three categories and properly define them according to the mission of the microfinance institution. So focusing on entrepreneurship development, have different underserved groups than maybe other MFIs. And the definition should be consistent among all MFIs, like young entrepreneurs. Yeah, how we define young entrepreneurs: up to 30, up to 35, up to 25. Startups, how we define startups: up 3 years since registration, 1 year and a half since registration, or a half of registration. Yeah, we have to work on this. And clients reporting income or business turnover prior, how we defined, yeah, only the percentage reporting, how much they are reporting increase in income or in business or in not in income, in business turnover, 50%, 20%, 10%, all those kind of a clear definition of the outcome. And there is quite in fashion one indicator. I saw it, and it's the impact, the impact at the level of communities for €1 lend. I saw it in the report of Syscredit. This is somehow started by ADI in France. So they are reporting, and they have a very sophisticated mechanism to calculate how much is the impact of €1 lend to vulnerable groups or to targeted groups of the MFI at the level of the communities. So, and they are reporting if for €1 lend, there is 1.5 or 3.5 or 2.5 euro generated, income generated, or this is another indicator we have to focus on impact, or you call it contribution to local economic revitalization or reduce resilience on public assistance, something like this. So how you, my question is, how you intend to move forward? Yes, so what I'm planning to do is to take all the indicators we are collecting at instant factoring, defining very well what it means for us underserved groups. But we will need some guidance here, because according to the code, underserved groups are for business loans are startups, female entrepreneurs, rural areas. Those are the underserved groups, or might be more self-employed individuals and micro enterprises are again some underserved groups. And all the other clear, or at least issue some clear definitions, and collect and report the indicators on quarterly basis and on semi-annual basis for the investors, something like this. That's it.
Thank you, Maria. So our intention just for now is to provide a let's say a general definition of what each element is. The examples that we have here are just examples. Okay, so they are just to give some better understanding of the different definitions. But at the end of the day, what are outputs, outcomes, and impacts? It depends on the institution itself, the context, et cetera, et cetera. So we hope that during our journey, we will clear some of these doubts, and we will be able to address some of your concerns. Okay, Eva?
There is another issue I would like to raise. It was a practice before during the EASY Technical Assistance Program, the previous, before SIFTA. And one of the selection criteria, it was based on the outreach. And the indicator they were using to select the beneficiaries of easy technical assistance, it was the percentage, the average loan amount as percentage from GNI per capita in the country. This was an indicator related to outreach, and this was an indicator relevant for inclusion, for the capacity of the MFIs to include the underserved groups in the country. And that's another discussion, because when they issue the selection criteria for SIFTA beneficiary, this was over. So the limit was 150% from GNI per capita. All the loans which were below this indicator were considered micro loans with impact in inclusion. So do you think, and this was related to each country, because we were talking about the GNA per capita of the country. And this is another indicator I think we should consider as an impact indicators as well.
Yeah, so, well, I believe that the indicators that you have just mentioned are in reality, so they are output indicators. So they because the output indicators, they are meant to track what? The characteristics of the clients that you're serving, and the number of loans, the number of trainings to vulnerable to the vulnerable population. So, for example, you can break down the workshops by client profile, the loan types by client profile. So those are all output indicators. So that they are related to the outreach. So that's thank you for mentioning that. So they really define your your business model and the type of clients you are serving. Okay, Eva.
Yes, thank you. Just a quick comment. I don't see anybody from BCR Social Finance here, but I work with them. So just sharing briefly another aspect of our experience so far, which relates to what they track. They track a lot of activity and operational type indicators. So that is easy, necessary, and required. And so I think one of the challenges there is to actually sort through all of those and see which ones are actually interesting and relevant, also to give a better gauge on outputs or relate to outcomes. So looking at all the different cuts by various segments of target clients, or the way that loan officers work, and how they reach out to clients, or how they assist them, or what geographical coverage. So a lot of this is there. And I think it is important to acknowledge that that's being collected as part of the activity, or performance indicators, you could say. But it's also quite easy for organizations to mix them up a little bit with the output and outcome ones.
Thank you, Eva, for your input. Okay, we can. Is there anyone else? We can move to the next one. So here, what you have is, let's say, an exercise about identifying some output, outcome, and impact indicators based on the European pillars of social rights. I don't know if you are familiar with the European pillars of social rights, but they were adopted by the European Commission in 2017. And they are a sort of compass for the European Union. And they are meant to do what? To promote different objectives. So equal opportunities and access to labor market. And here you have, for example, so this is where, for example, microfinance can play, a big role. So if we look at what's inside here, we have education, training, lifelong learning, gender equality, right? So serving women, equal opportunities, so anti-racism, inclusion of ethnic minorities, active support to employment, secure and adaptable employment wages, etc., etc. And then we have another one that is, so for example, let me mention some that is social protection, for example, that is also related to financial resilience, unemployment benefits, minimum income, old age income and pension. So also reaching out to the older population is healthcare. So how can microfinance, for example, support health expenses or health of the clients? Inclusion of people with disabilities, so reaching out to people with disabilities. So I'm just reading, the document of the European Pillars of Social Rights, or access to essential services. For example, water, sanitation, energy, transport, financial services as well, and digital communication. So what we have tried here is to, as an exercise to transform those pillars into some indicators. So you see, for example, output indicators, people below the national poverty line financed, people receiving a loan for the first time, inclusion, financial inclusion, first-time borrowers supported with training, women receiving microcredits, so gender equality, people living in rural or remote areas, financed, third country migrant and refugees finance, people living with disabilities, but also the youth that are mentioned in the social pillars. Here, for example, Maria, you have a definition based on the social pillars. Roma people and other ethnic minorities that are also mentioned there. People aged older people, long-term unemployed, people trained because skill developments and is also critical. I don't know if you remember the speech of the director of the DG Employment in it was in Italy in Cagliari. So he mentioned that for the DG Employment, the developing skills is critical because it's one of the where the Europe can have an advantage with respect to other regions. So we need also to focus on that. Then outcome indicators, jobs created, people that were unemployed entering self-employment, people able to cover unexpected expenses, such as health expenses, etc., etc. And then impact indicators, reduce poverty risk, reduce financial exclusion, increase financial resilience, improvement in financial capability, improve social and territorial cohesion, increase labor market participation, reduce the gender employment gap, etc., etc. So this is just a long list of different indicators based on the European Pillars of Social Rights that you might reference to. Okay, and what they are also aligned, with other documents of the European Commission. Yeah, so this is, for example, so a list that you can refer to select some initial indicators. Based on your institution and based on your context, etc., etc. Now, just to conclude, yeah, Maria.
I do have a comment here.
Yeah.
If you are looking to the indicators, it's a mix of business and social indicators. In Romania, we have the credit unions, which are focusing on all those social aspects, but they are financing individuals. And unfortunately, most of the microcredits which are going for education or medical needs or improvement of the living conditions, which are clear indicators of reduced poverty and reduced financial exclusion, are not financed by any of the European instruments. Only the business loans, micro loans are guaranteed or are supported through the capital facility of IF. So what we should do is to identify those indicators which are relevant for the business development. Actually, most of us are targeting income generation. We are providing income generation microloans. Most of us in Romania, except the credit unions, all the others are 95, more than 95. Some MFIs are 100% providing only business loans, or how we call them income generation loans. So what we have, I do understand these social pillars. Yes, we have to understand to identify the indicators we are collecting and which are relevant for social, like creating of new jobs within the clients of the MFIs, or maintaining the jobs.
Yeah, but let me jump in just to explain. Because this is also based on the impact path or your theory of change that goes beyond the micro enterprise. Because, for example, if you look at percentage increase in net household income, okay, so the entrepreneur is a member of a family, and so the family of the entrepreneur can benefit, from the increased from the increase in business revenues, in the increased so there are some I understand what you're saying, but when you look at outcome indicators and impact indicators, you have to look beyond the business itself, and so to a broader perspective. Because for example, with the thanks to the growing business, they can now offer better education opportunities for their children. I don't know, okay, so or they can are much more able to pay for their health expenses, or they so there are benefits that go beyond the business itself. And I think it's important to consider that, because I mean, at the end of the day, this an employment, like for an individual person, so it's And then you can have, benefits for your employees. If you increase, right, and this go beyond our clients, but if you increase employment, right, you hire people, also those people, they will benefit from that, right? And so also the families of those individuals, they will benefit. So clear? Yes.
Yeah, it's we have to work a little bit on understanding, and we have to work a little bit on how we are presenting all those indicators, because to determine how much we have an impact on, let's say, GNI per capita, increase of GNI per capita in our country is difficult. It's increasing. So of course we are contributing. How much we are contributing? That's we have to debate. To the employment, to the reduce of unemployment. Of course we are contributing, yes, because we are collecting, and our clients increase the number of jobs with a certain number, and maintain a certain number of jobs. That's a contribution. How much it's and how relevant it's at the level of the country or the county, or it's difficult to assess. But yeah, we have to work on what we have, and proper present and interpret the impact of the activities we have.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is easy. I'm just saying, that that's the story that we would like to tell to the public. Okay. And just for now, so I think that we need to take it step by step, right? So you're saying, how much do we contribute to the GDP growth? No, we don't want to go there. We would like to start from small, okay, to understand some more about our impacts on our clients, okay, understand a little bit more. But having the overall picture in mind is very good, because at the end of the day, that allows you to tell a story that can go beyond the numbers that you collect, right? Okay, so that's important, and this is what we are trying here to do. So to say that you have to look out of the box and see what else you can collect easily, quickly, in a cost-effective way that makes sense for you and makes sense for the community in general. Okay. Okay. Next one is, and then I leave the word to Diana. Is about what do we do with this data and why we are here measuring impact. Okay. So here we provide some ideas, some inputs for reflection. One is about identifying service gaps. So what else I might need to generate more impact for my clients? Refine products and services. So, for example, by understanding that my activities are not transforming into the outputs that I expect. Maybe there are some levers or that I can work on, or changes that I can make to my service and products to generate the outputs that they want to generate. Okay. Maybe it's not true for all clients. Maybe it's true only for some clients. Okay. Maybe you can see that the outputs are greater for I don't know, local entrepreneurs, but not for migrant entrepreneurs, right? And so maybe you need to adjust something. train staff to prioritize client success. So you have identified where your service and products have major impact or output, and you say, okay, we need to work, to focus more on this because this is probably the best channel or the best activities, that are generating an impact. Support strategic decision. So this is at board level, management level, and strengthen relationship with stakeholders. Maybe we need to collaborate with someone else, right? Or we need to change. So when we think about changing our strategy, it's not only about internal products, services, procedures, but also we might, work with other external institutions to increase outputs or impacts. Now that is really institution specific. Okay, so here we have another question. So for you to support the discussion, and it's about what does impact mean for your institution. So with this question, we say, okay, why is important or might be important for your institution to measure impact in a strategic perspective? Only to secure funding, only, to learn more how we can, change our products and services. Why do you, what do you do that for? Because even the selection of indicators should be, based on a strategic perspective. Anyone who wants to give an input or give it a start?
Hello, colleagues. Agne Lapinskina from Novative Finance. We are quite, we already have similar projects with Diana related with social metrics implementation in our organization. And we had a lot of workshops with Diana, with our experts, why it's important to measure those indicators. And yes, of course, it's really important for our investor because we collecting money from investors, European institution, and so on. But it's also important when we are making our financial decisions, what is our target group, how we have to define our products, and what is our market, how to say, product advantage between our competitors, because we have a very similar price between our competitors. And it's really important when we define that our, as an innovative finance, impact for businesses is not only just to lend for money for businesses, but also to help them grow. And we are looking for long-term succeed for our customers.
Thank you very much for your input. Indeed, we believe that the impact assessment is critical to, for, as you mentioned, right, to differentiate your institution from other institutions to be more competitive. One example how we can do that, right? So you can observe that for some clients, your products and services has less outcomes or impacts. Okay, so you might say, what can I do, right, to improve, to adapt my service and products, because that would allow the institution also to retain their clients more in the long term, right? So as a further example. Eva? Eva, and then Mircea. Yes.
Yeah, just very quickly, I don't mean to monopolize or anything, but in the case that I'm working with, they would like to see how additional the services are. So I guess this falls under the box for strategic decisions. What additional resources and to what additional underserved target groups they bring as a result of their activities. So have this laid out in the theory of change and measure to make sure that it is additional and it is finding the underserved.
Thank you. Mircea?
Yes, I would like to add that our mission should be, of course, to make money for the shareholders, to develop our colleague employees and so on. But we have also a mission, a goal to give back to the community, to the society, something with this occasion. I think it's good to measure this impact in order to accomplish this mission, and also to have a good to be a good company for your community. You know, it's good to be good. You know, to give back something, because you already are there. You already make money. You already have this information. You already finance some young, some startups or others. So let's. I would like to see very clear as an impact, and to become very serious and with a good image in the community, everybody to trust us because we are here.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very valuable input. Yeah. Something to add before we move to the next phase. So the idea is that those indicators together, they will provide the overall picture. So it's not just one indicator itself, okay? And we will try to learn that together. That for example, even an indicator of how much clients are happy with our services can be a very good one, combined with the impact indicators. Because if they're satisfied, they feel that we're meeting their needs, and at the same time, the impact indicators or outcome indicators, they're showing that some changes are taking place, then it's a double check that we are moving in towards the right direction. So we will also try to see if there are other indicators beyond the ones that we have just mentioned that can help us to have a better picture. Okay, Diana, I give you now the word to you.
Yeah, thank you, Davide. So we will continue with what is actually captured in the second module of the toolkit. As you saw, we are following the toolkit structure because that's the whole idea, to pilot it and help you understand social impact measurement through the toolkit, and so that it becomes as a support for you in the future. So basically, in fact, I will in some way recap what we've already discussed. But the idea is now, how do we put what we just discussed in terms of the impact you are trying to achieve and maybe some indicators you are collecting, how do we put this into a more structured approach? And that is done through the theory of change, which again we mentioned already several times. Basically, the theory of change creates the link from your mission and impact that you want to achieve through going through your activities. So it translates everything into a structured pathway with causal pathways. So how your activities determine the output and what is the outcome of that, and then the longer term impact, which helps achieve your vision. So I think to me, the theory of change really brings clarity and structure for the impact measurement. It's a flexible tool, so there is no like one approach that fits all. It's pretty much adapted to each institution's context and own approach. And then it can be presented as a visual model. As you can see here on the right side, we have some examples, but it can also be, it's basically the foundation for the story of your business and your vision for the activities that you are carrying out. And we will have shortly an exercise so you can think about this this story of how you reach impact. So what makes a strong theory of change? There are several elements. First of all, it's important to use available evidence. So I'm sure most of you already did this. Basically, you are responding to a certain need that has been identified. So there are microfinance providers that review national reports on financial inclusion and identify certain constraints, maybe in rural areas in terms of access to financial services or for specific market segments. Such as women entrepreneurs. So it's important, basically, the objectives and impact that you want to achieve to be linked to a specific need. Then it also helps when defining the theory of change to engage stakeholders and mainly clients and understand again their specific challenges and needs. Also, the goals should be defined long term. That refers to the ultimate impact. So that could be, I think, similar to what Agne mentioned, to increase the economic resilience of certain groups of individuals or promote the growth of entrepreneurs and then from there, define how you want to achieve these long-term goals. As I already mentioned, the theory of change should create this link from the activities, outputs to outcomes and impact. So it's very important to define these causal pathways. Basically, how the financing helps businesses achieve growth, or how non-financial services improve the financial literacy of the clients, and then maybe their ability to run businesses better and again achieve growth. Then it's important to, as I already mentioned, to identify assumptions the theory of change and any risks in terms of offering the services. So as an example, when providing non-financial services, what is the risk that clients may drop from this, from the training you are providing, or how do you ensure that they commit to the learning and to improving their skills and knowledge. Then in terms of communication of the theory of change, as I already mentioned, it's important to have this visual representation and the narrative. And then finally, continue to improve it over time, both through internal reflection and also discussions with the clients, and to understand maybe where certain services or activities need to be adjusted to better respond to the client needs and achieve the desired outcomes and impact.
Yeah, if I can add something here.
Yes.
So so the stakeholders are clients, but they can also be, your employees, credit officers, other stakeholders, such as, local associations that you are in contact with, that can help you, to understand, better the link between, or the potential link between your activities, your outputs with the outcomes and impact. So, for example, with the clients, I might understand why are they, taking my loan credit, and what are their expectations, what they expect to do, because I want to start a business, because I feel, that I can become more independent, I can be more socially included, I'm in a rural area, and here it's very difficult, and sometimes I feel that I feel frustrated or whatever. So all kind of information can be very relevant to understand, how to build my theory of change. And the theory of change is important not only to identify the indicators that are relevant, but to identify the story behind those indicators. So the story is important. I tell that very much, because sometimes, institutions, they just report some numbers, but what the others, they would like to hear is also the story behind those changes, and what's behind that, even though you don't, for example, measure impact, you don't build, indicators to track impact. It's important to understand what might be my impact that is related to my mission, right? So it's a framework to starting point to have a clear idea of what my impact might be, and how that income is generated by my activities.
Yeah, thank you, Davide. Yes, and then next, we are finally getting to the assignment we shared with you prior to this training. I don't know if you had a chance to think about that. If not, there's an opportunity now. So basically, we would like to ask you, like going through these questions, to think about the story behind your theory of change. And the way we will do that is we will split you in breakout rooms, and we will give you some time, like 15 minutes, to discuss. And then we will ask one person from each group to share the results. But before that, we also want to show you an example. This is just fictional, but maybe Davide, you can go through this.
Yeah, actually, we don't want you to build your theory of change right now. This was going to be an assignment for the next training, but the idea is to brainstorm a little bit more about that. What we try to do here is to build an hypothetical theory of change for a microfinance institution in Romania called Cred Impact, serving women entrepreneurs, and the inputs. So the inputs, remember, the inputs are the activities or the activities that you would like to implement that are related to your business model, and so what you have set up to run your activities. So, for example, here you see, right? So we have a loan product, loan capital, okay, with flexible collateral. We provide business support, financial literacy, business planning. We have training staff on gender responsive. So we have gender responsive loan officers. So on gender issues, we have established partnerships with women networks to reach out to the women more. Okay, with and then the activities are what we are doing with the clients. Okay. For example, loan appraisal adapted to women's income partners, pre-loan training for clients, follow-up visits, referrals. So in this case, we refer clients to the women to, for example, associations that can provide them further assistance. And these activities, they produce a series of outputs. So the loans disbursed to women entrepreneurs, the number of trainings completed, the number of visits that we have conducted, the number of referrals that we have made to the associations. And these outputs, they generate a series of outcomes in the very short term to the long term. So, for example, in the short term, over the next 6-12 months, we expect, for example, increased working capital and investment capacity of SMEs, better financial skills because we provide training. So we expect that they have improved their management and confidence. And then they rely less on informal credit because we now provide, formal credit to them. These are just examples. In the medium term, so in 1-3 years, because we know that is not going to take place right now, but we expect, that the business will grow, revenues, they will increase, profitability will increase. They might create, some jobs. Their income might be more resilient because they have more stable cash flows, and the household of the entrepreneurs also benefits from that. And then we have long-term incomes that they can be blended with impacts, actually, because they are in the longer term. So they are more closer to impacts than outcomes. So economic independence. So women's, they feel that they are more economically independent, that we have contributed to some local development, to the local economy, that we have reduced the gender gap in access to finance and at portfolio level, or in general, okay? For example, because we have built, a credit history for these women, and so they can move on, they can also have access to other financial service providers. Then we have impact, but as I said, these long-term outcomes, they can be blended together with impact, so that we can see them also as impact. So, for example, women's empowerment. So the women that we have served, they feel that they have more economic agency. They feel that they participate more in the local community. There are signs of poverty reduction because they have a sustained impact above poverty threshold. And then financial inclusion. So they have been able to move forward. They now have access to multiple financial services. Again, because they built a credit history, because they feel more confident, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And all these, elements, they can be transformed into indicators. Now, here we also have provided the example of what assumptions and risk are. And this is also important to consider them, because some of these effects that we expect, they might not take place, because we need these assumptions in place for them to occur. Right? So, for example, the clients, they actually use the loans. We don't know. They might use the loan for different purposes, right? Our training, they really increase skills. So we don't know if, I'm a professor and I'm not sure if my students, they really learn from me and they pay attention to what I say, right? Visible market demand exists. So if the market is, there is a demand for the products or services produced by these women, right? Stable economic environment. If there is a economic shock or whatever, right? Maybe the business growth doesn't occur, right? Or no market displacement effects. So, for example, in this case, we might create disemployment in other areas, right? And then contextual factors. So this is a more macro perspective. So in order to finance these entrepreneurs, we need to continue funds from the European Union, for example, structural funds, or we need e-commerce platforms for growth that have to be provided. We need to more women's entrepreneurship networks. Inflation can be a problem. They can erode the business margins, or gender norms limiting autonomy. So, there are several studies that show that microcredit in some cases they can increase conflicts within the couples, and they can actually reduce the autonomy of women, or the men can take control of the loan, and so the impact doesn't occur because agency, there is no agency also in the control of the loan. So these are assumptions and contextual factors that we need to take into consideration, especially, for example, if we want to go deeper, right? So we have there are some clients that are not experiencing the same outcomes or impacts of the other clients, maybe 10% of my clients. And I want to understand why. Here you have a list of possible questions that you can use to investigate that, right? So they might say I'm facing these issues, okay? There is no demand for my products, and I already have there in my assumptions. Okay, let's go back to Diana, to the small assignment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I think, Davide, we can split everyone into groups. I have shared with you not sure if you received the suggested groups, because we are trying to put we saw there are several people from the same organization, so we want to put you together.
Yeah, so maybe we can, so we can form 4 breakout rooms. So manually, okay. So we have well, let's do in this way, because I cannot see the institution you are from, but let's do it automatically. That is much better, so we don't lose too much time. Okay, remove it. 1 second. So okay, let's do it in this way. So the instructions are clear for everyone. So the idea is to brainstorm a little bit, about on the basis of the exercise assignment that you have already done. But if you haven't, it's not a problem. So the idea is to understand how to frame the questions we provided to you into the problem statement in particular, based also on your mission. Then the target population activities, etc., based on what are the main financial products or services you offer, right? Which clients' challenges are these services designed to address? That is also important for the problem statement, that they link the problem statement that you want to address with the potential contribution of your services and products. And then the positive changes do you expect clients to experience as a result? We don't want you to, to already insert all elements here, but just a general reflection on what you have done and how do you think your products and services can contribute to the well-being of your clients. Is it clear for everyone? Can we start? Yes. Okay.
And yeah, we will give you like 15 minutes and then we'll bring you back in the plenary.
Okay, done.
So I think we still have 2 participants not in the groups.
Yes. So I cannot. Why? Why? I'm not sure. I don't know why I cannot. I have to check. I have to look at the profile, Sandra. Andra and Syed, are you still there?
Andra, Syed, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, you. Oh, okay. I'm not sure why I cannot assign you to So there is some. There's a bit. I have no. I think I have a problem with my microphone. Okay, I see. Okay. Yeah, because I'm not allowed to assign you to the rooms. This person cannot access the breakout rooms. I don't know why. And CED as well.
Maybe it's a, did you put the groups I suggested? Or?
Oh, yeah. So it's not a question of, because there is a group of 4, a group of 4, a group of 3, a group of 3. So they would.
But
maybe it's because she doesn't have the micro. Maybe.
Maybe we can stop the recording now. And okay, do we have everyone back? No, not yet. Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Great. Then I think now we would like to invite a representative from each group. If you can share the outcome of the discussion and results. So whoever would like to volunteer.
I think not many of volunteers are here because it was quite tricky with chambers because we start discussion with Marcia, then Catalina and also Yanis joined in our group session, so it was quite tricky. But in general, we introduce we introduce ourselves for each group member, and I think so what is common, and colleagues will agree that we all of us providing microloans for small business. Some has longer history, some history just starting, but in general we providing lending for enterprises and supporting businesses as well. So.
And was anyone in your group, Agne, able to come up with a very brief story, like from the activities that you are doing, the micro lending, like how you achieve your impact?
Yes, I also shared my experience, what we are doing now with our project and what activities we are doing. So in general, we not just lending money for the customers, but additionally, we providing monitoring services for our customers that helps to get credit data for them when we assessing them customers, especially in B2B sector. And also we provide some trainings and education for entrepreneurs together with our companies. That's help us not just provide lending, but also ensure sustainable development and growth for businesses. And also those customers, what is good for us, it's around 60% of our customers is coming back in the end of loan period. So it's create long-term relationship with our customers. That shows our results also.
Okay.
Thank you. Maria?
So our group was pretty diverse. BCR Social Finance, which is non-bank financial institution of one of the major banks in Romania. Instant Factoring, which is microfinance short-term services providers, mainly, as the name says, factoring services. And AFI from Greece, a microfinance institution, pretty young. They are in the development stage. According to the missions, all institutions are targeting mainly, I said mainly because for Instant Factoring and AFI are underserved entrepreneurs and potential entrepreneurs. For BCR Social Finance, there is another target group, which are the farmers, which are more or less tackled by AFI as well, are farmers and social enterprises, and they are providing some educational loans, so they have individuals as well, students. But we focus on the main target group, those underserved entrepreneurs and potential entrepreneurs. The challenges they are facing, the problems they are facing are excluded from the main financial system. Lack of collateral, lack of data and credit awareness, a lack of a location in remote areas for some of them, in Greece especially. And another challenge, which is very particular, cultural barriers towards access financial services. So those are the challenges they are facing. What the MFIs are providing short-term loans. In the case of Instant Factoring, business loans, and addressing some of the challenges in partnership. AFI is providing in partnership with various partners, banks and financial institutions, loans for particular groups, like those which are in remote areas. The indicators are focusing on the portfolio indicators, plus the outcome indicators like sustainability, growth, jobs created, turnover increase. And for outcome and business development support services, as a blog, with financial education. In the case of Instant Factoring, details related to the factoring and short-term services, and in case of the others are BCR has a business school developed together with the bank, and AFI has business support, networking, support for business planning, marketing planning, and webinars, which is really, really something. So the indicators, we actually, we end somehow here. Um, uh, and that's what we succeed to discuss.
Thank you,
Eva?
Maria. Eva? Yeah.
Sorry, maybe just one quick addition, which I think is important, which is that it's not just the training and the capacity building that is offered in way of services, but a lot of blended finance solutions or subsidized loans. So I think it's quite important to not just say it's microloans that you provide, but what kind, how tailored, how specific, or what solutions that best address the challenges. So we talked a little bit about this because it's quite interesting what they do in AFI with in this regard.
Partnership with the banks, with the main bank, yeah, and for specific target groups, especially those which are in the rural areas. Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to share? Okay. Then thank you very much for your inputs and for this exercise. Since we have only 12 minutes left and we don't want to keep you longer, I will go a bit quicker through the next slides. So basically, the next step once the theory of change is developed, which, as I mentioned, is more the story behind the way you do business and the impact you want to achieve. Then the next phase is to build a logical framework and or log frame, as it's also called. So basically, this translates the theory of change into a measurable structure. It's the link between the theory of change and the actual indicators organized across outputs, outcomes, and impacts. And it answers two main questions. So how can it be verified that the planned activities and indicators are achieved, and then how the theory of change can be put in a format that allows for actually systematic data collection, monitoring, and reporting. So the log frame, it's basically the structure that allows you to track the progress of activities and monitor and evaluate performance. And there are several considerations when developing a log frame. It's very important that the objectives and indicators are smart. Then indicators should actually measure progress towards objectives, and it's also important, and this is, I think, something we've discussed in the past, and an important aspect that maybe we will touch in the next training sessions is to set targets for each indicator. And then the log frame basically has some elements that are brought from the theory of change. And we put this here to show you a bit the difference between the theory of change and log frame. So it also includes the overall objective, outcomes, outputs, and activities. But then in addition, it brings the actual indicators, how the indicators would be verified, so which are the sources of data, any assumptions, any risk mitigation strategies, also a time frame, so when the data for the indicators will be collected, is it once a year, or yeah, different frequency, and then also the responsibilities. So who is collecting the data, who is analyzing and producing the reports. And yeah, here we had an exercise, but I think we will share this with you as something to prepare and think about for the next training session. Basically the next step, and I think some of you, and Maria, from what you mentioned, you already went into defining some indicators for each category, or more, you had the indicators and organized them in the categories. So yeah, this would be the next step to think about yeah, some measurable indicators. So finally, yeah, some key takeaways from today. I think we've seen quite a bit of diversity, and obviously each organization is at a different stage of impact measurement, and maybe more advanced in certain areas and less in others. But yeah, generally it's important to start simple in a way as we did today. So think about what's your ultimate impact that you want to achieve and how you get there. What are the steps, the intermediary steps, so the outcomes. And then yeah, also make use of what you already have. I think, yeah, Maria, your example was very good, that you already have quite a lot of indicators, but it's how you can use this better. So yeah, we put here a couple points for the next session, but we will definitely follow up with more details by email. David, I don't know if you want to add something, and then if there are any questions.
Yeah. I don't want to repeat what you have just said, but the idea was, okay, first of all, we need to, so what we did was, okay, understand our clients, their profiles, the type of services that we offer, the challenges that our clients, they face, and see how all this information can can feed into the tier of change, okay? And then from the tier of change, so the idea of the log frame is to develop a sort of strategic plan of how to implement the data collection strategy. So going from the indicators, how to collect the indicators, when to collect each indicators, what source to use to collect it, and who is responsible for what. And that's critical to make sure that you can really reach your data collection activities. And we will learn more. So the next time we will look at how to collect the data, what are the different strategies, and how to analyze the data. So starting from from the selected indicator. So, well, thank you very much for your time and your commitment. That is very, very important. I hope you will actually be like the first champions that will then encourage other microfinance institutions to follow your steps. Because we are feeling a lot of pressure right now, and and in the sector, and yeah. So, but we will keep you updated, and we will give all the instructions for the next assignment. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you too.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.